What's going on, beautiful people? Daniel Mediar here with another topic today. How to keep your mental health at the peak. So, of course, I got the 7 steps ready for you as always, and we're going to discuss the details. This is going to be a balance between winning and losing because both are essential and necessary for a peak mental health. You know, for both men and women, of course. There's really no gender differentiation between a good mental health. Everybody needs it. Before I start, of course, you can find my services at dmprotrainer.com, 1, 3, and a 6-month coaching program that is focused on fitness, weight loss, muscle building, finances, and also human relationships. If you guys are looking for a really high quality beef, you can order it at dmbeef.com. It's grass-fed, grass-finished, and we ship from Utah and Texas. That's my own beef company. If you guys want to build a meal plan by yourself and you want to use my methods, read the book that I published called Weight Loss Without Plateau, where I describe metabolism in detail. And I also describe my calorie cycling methods. If you guys need a single consultation just to go through your problem and whatever aspect that I focus on, you can book a single consultation also on my website at dmprotrainer.com. Good afternoon, Japes. I see some comments here in the section. And for right now, I'm going to go through the 7 steps how to keep the mental health. And after that, I'm going to see if there's any comments left. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Or if you have, any additional things to say, leave the comment below. So the step number 1, I am reading from the screen that's right behind the camera because I used to read from the phone before, but I connected my phone to the screen, so it's so much easier right now. That's all I'll be looking up. So the step number 1 is the brain is a prediction machine. The brain constantly predicts outcomes. When results match effort, it reinforces accurate self-assessment. Balanced wins and losses calibrate perception of competence. Really important because when you're constantly winning, you're not going to be able to recognize things that you're not capable of doing. You will feel like you can do anything in terms of business, relationships, money, physical competence, whatever. You will think that you can literally do anything in the world. It's good to think it, but it's not true. Something is out of your competence and you won't be able to recognize it because you've constantly been winning. That's why losses are very important, because the losses will make you predict a negative outcome. You're actually going to realize that, okay, I'm not really good at running. I'm not going to sign up for 46-mile marathon or 46-kilometer marathon because I'm not really good at it. I have to practice first. Or if you've never done accounting, it's probably not a good idea to do your own accounting in your own company because you're not competent. You don't know how to do it. So the wins and losses will be able to help you with the right prediction of what you are capable of, what you're not capable of, and that's actually shaping the final destination towards success. Because ultimately, when you're jumping into every single situation, thinking you know it the best, from every aspect of life, relationships, money, physical, doesn't matter, you're going to run into something that you can't solve. You're going to fall on your face. You're going to take the losses on your chin. And then you're going to be more careful the next time. So that's what the balance between the winning and losing is doing in the first place. Step number 2 is dopamine requires variability. Dopamine spikes from uncertain reward, not guaranteed success. You're not going to get the dopamine spike because you know you can do something and you do it. For example, lifting a 5-pound dumbbell. There's no dopamine coming from that. You're certain you can do it. 100% certainty. So once when you lift a 5-pound dumbbell, you didn't actually overcome any challenge. Hence, you're not going to be really getting the feeling of excitement, reward, win, etc. So it has to be uncertain. The situation that you're facing might be a little risky, but not risky where you're literally not sure about your own competence. It's exciting, big things are at stake. Let's say sprinting, at 10 miles per hour for 30 seconds when we take a physical aspect of it. It's a challenge, but once when you accomplish that, you're going to get the dopamine reward. It's uncertain. You push yourself to the situations where you're not really sure if you're going to succeed, but the chances are high. Constant winning blunts dopaminergic sensitivity. Consistent losing suppresses it. Both destabilize motivation circuits. Okay, so now here we can clearly see that constant winning, it shuts down the dopamine sensitivity. You're just not going to respond to endless excitement from winning. At some point, you will have to enter the addiction stage where you have to increase the doses. For example, if you're taking drugs and seeking dopamine from the drugs, you have to go up on the doses of drugs. Same amount of the drugs is not doing the same thing to you anymore. If you are, getting dopamine from screwing around with women, you screw around with one woman, that's not enough, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you will have to increase the number of women that you slept with just to get the same response as you got from the first one. It applies to everything. So when you're just getting into this addictive state, you're shutting down the sensitivity of dopamine and you constantly need more stimulation. Now, when you're constantly losing, you have no dopamine whatsoever. And you're going to enter the state of depression. Not a good thing. Winning elevates testosterone and risk appetite. Repeated victories increase testosterone and reward signaling, amplifying confidence and dominance behavior. It makes you more powerful. When you're winning, you feel competent, you feel like you can handle things, you have a pretty good prediction of what you're capable of, and you have achieved success. So you're going to be more of a that masculine, strong, powerful energy that is willing to break through the walls with the forehead if necessary, because you already proved to yourself that you're worthy. You know how to handle certain situations. You know what you're capable of. Now, without corrective losses, this can inflate perceived invulnerability. It's also called God's complex, leading to overconfidence, bias, and reckless decisions. Now, that's when you're constantly winning. God's complex is something that the world's biggest names have been trying to avoid, but they got there. It happens when you're constantly winning, and you never lost. Hitler got there. You know how he lost? He thought he can take on all over the world, and then he lost the war. Escobar, El Chapo, they also got to the God's complex. Chapo, towards the end, was going to his villages to eat dinners and lunch with people like a normal citizen, just like he wasn't the most wanted person on the world. This is the God's complex. You think you're untouchable. Nobody can do anything to you. At that point, the universe organizes chaos through incredible spike. That's the constant winning. At some point, it will have to reverse and to incredible fall. That's just how universe works. Nothing can spike constantly up. Not gold, not stocks, indexes, funds, none of that. Not even your success or wins. At some point, you will have to lose. So when you're winning over again, be careful about the God's complex, because you're going to feel like you're invulnerable. Nobody can hurt you, nobody can touch you. And that's when usually the life losses happens. Number 4 is loss elevates cortisol. Chronic losing increases cortisol. Sustained stress impairs prefrontal cortex, reducing decision quality, energy, and emotional regulation, fueling learned helplessness and depressive patterns. Okay, so what happens here, when you're constantly losing, you're in a state of stress. It's like having a blindfolds on your eyes and you can't think clearly. You can't be as sharp, logically and rationally as you would normally be. You're constantly exhausted. High cortisol levels lead to sleep deprivation. With the sleep deprivation, your brain pretty much turns into mush. You have no energy to exist, not even working out, none of that stuff. And you just simply can't find motivation and discipline to push further, to get through it, and to start actually solving the problems. Instead of solving the problems, you much rather just take the path of avoiding the problems or running away or hiding, because it's easier. You don't have energy, motivation, or discipline to face them. So constant losing will lead ultimately to depression and loss of power. Well, first, loss of power, because man needs emotional, physical, and financial strength in order to achieve complete happiness. And when you don't have that and you're constantly just losing, then you get to the chronic depression. So number 5 is the prefrontal cortex needs feedback. Losses activate error detection systems, anterior cingulate cortex. This refines strategy and impulse control. Without setbacks, executive calibration weakens. Okay, so pretty much we already covered it in previous steps, but you need losses just to be able to detect potential harm and danger in the future. Okay, so when you're looking in the future and you're in a God complex because you're constantly winning, you don't see a potential harm or danger, even when it's realistic. Like, this will fuck you up for real. You don't see it because you have a God's complex. You think you're untouchable. At that point, you're going to fall hard. So that's why you have to have the balance between winning and losing, because the losing actually awakens that part of error detection or potential harm in the future. Number 6, identity must stay elastic. Balanced outcomes prevent ego inflation and ego collapses. Psychologically, intermittent failures preserves humility and adaptability. Okay? So when you have the proper balance, you become pretty much this person who knows his capabilities. You are healthy in terms of your self-esteem and confidence, but you also know your weaknesses, and you're not going to just simply face any type of stupid situation when you know you're probably not the best participant for that. Whether it's physical, financial, relationship, doesn't matter. You just simply know what you're capable of and what you're not capable of because you experienced both, wins and the losses. Now, constant wins lead ultimately to losses. They always do, okay? At the end, the universe doesn't allow you just to climb up. That doesn't happen. Eventually, your peak will achieve, you're gonna achieve your absolute peak, and from the peak, you're gonna fall down. There's only way down from there. And you're gonna fall down because you're gonna be pretty much blind towards any potential dangers. So this is the right balance. Winning, losing, winning, losing. Now, practically speaking, if you're losing in finances and you know it's going to take 6, 7, 8 months to get out of that trouble, find wins in your health. Lose 5 pounds, lose 10 pounds, increase your push-up game, increase the pull-up game, do whatever more physically. Face challenges in terms of cold plunges. Set the timer for 3 minutes, stay there for 3 minutes. You'll get the win. You'll get the dopamine reward. You can't just be losing in every single aspect of your life. If you're losing in one aspect of your life, you got to find immediately wins in other aspects of your life so you balance out the proper hormonal response and your brain can actually stay calm and healthy. Because if you don't do it and you just focus on the losing in finances and you find no wins elsewhere, you're going to fall into a deep depression. That's what's going to happen. So you got to make sure that you are flexible and you're looking for wins anywhere you can, because the losses are just going to be naturally part of the life. Number 7 is homeostasis drives sustainable performance. Optimal functioning requires oscillation. Wins equal to motivation, drive, and confidence. Losses are correction, restraint, and recalibration. So losses are actually a self-reflection. Like, you identify why you lost, you identify the reasons why you weren't careful enough, and you'll never do it again. That's what's going to ultimately lead you to success, okay? Now, when you win, you have motivation, drive, fire. You're hungry after more success. So they're both beautifully cooperating to make you sharper and better. Only winning breeds delusion and strategic blindness. Only losing breeds apathy and depression. The brain thrives on calibrated contrast, not extremes. And that's coming from the extreme guy. I do everything in extremes, but with this one, you can't be extreme in either one, because both of them are sharpening your tools to become the most successful person you can. As I said, if you're just winning, you're going to enter the God's complex, and then you're going to fall on your face. It's 100% somewhere. If you're just losing, it's a deep depression. So this beautiful balance is creating the human that is worthy of success. So that was it for today's lesson, beautiful people. Please hit like and subscribe on my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.